Haka tangata titi, haka tangata kākā, haka tangata hoki a hau, a ti hei mauri ora. A ta whenua no Ngai Tahu, no Waitaha Ngāti Māmoe, no Ngai Tahu hoki, a tēnā koe, a tēnā koutou katoa, a ina tūpuna, a te atua, haere ki hu wake nui, hu wake rauta, hu wake pā mā, haere, haere, haere e te rā. A nā hau e whā, nā iwi e tōnei, i nā hangaora, i nā rangatira mā hoki, a tēnā koutou, a tēnā koutou, a tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings and thank you very much, Dean. Apologies obviously from Mark Solomon, who wasn't able to be here this evening. At a political level, there's been a number of MPs that have been championing this particular kaupapa in Wellington, and I just thought it was appropriate to just acknowledge people like Nicky Wagner, Brendan Burns obviously as well. Both of those ministers have been involved in organising local kind of meetings. Obviously, Leanne Dalziel needs to be congratulated on the work that she has done, specific to, I guess, her involvement in kicking Sir Geoffrey Palmer and the Law Commission into gear, specifically to review for the first time in the last 20 years to complete a comprehensive review of the sale and supply of liquor in New Zealand. I was really fortunate back in November of 1998 to be at Ōnuku Marae on the peninsula, where Jenny Shipley, under a national-led government, apologised formally to Ngai Tahu. I don't necessarily want to read out all these slides today, but I think it's probably appropriate. The Crown apologises to Ngai Tahu for its past failures to acknowledge Ngai Tahu rangatiratanga and mana over the South Island within its boundaries, and in fulfilment of its treaty obligations, the Crown recognises Ngai Tahu as the tangata whenua of and as holding rangatiratanga within the takiwā of Ngai Tahu whānui. I think that stance in itself is a particularly powerful statement. It obviously was quite a symbolic statement by the Crown recognising past grievances, and probably sets quite an appropriate scene in regards to Ngai Tahu involvement specific to this particular issue that we're here to talk to today. The Ngai Tahu takiwā, as people will be well aware, it's the largest tribal region of any Māori grouping in New Zealand. And obviously the Ngai Tahu takiwā covers pretty well from Karamea on the west coast to just below Blenheim on the east coast, and is made up of 18 runanga who obviously kind of control the destiny and aspirations of Ngai Tahu specifically. So it's a very big patch, very well organised. I guess just generally setting the scene specifically, I'd just like to touch on some of the historical context of alcohol specific to Māori, because I think it's a useful insight in regards to the issues that we're facing here today. It's very kind of obvious, I suppose, for Ngai Tahu and Māori people generally, that prior to colonisation, alcohol wasn't an issue, I guess, and so as a result of the introduction of colonisation and alcohol, it obviously had specific implications. One wouldn't want to be too sceptical, but I think probably the colonisers to some degree used alcohol in some forms in regards to the colonisation process. And by the 1870s, there was a growing resistance to alcohol among Ngai Tahu and other iwi. I've got a series of quotes which are kind of interesting, so I'll try not to read all of it, but I think they're probably very much worth kind of considering. This is a petition to Parliament from Ngāti Mahuta in 1856. It is a drink for only the foolish and for the evil spirit. It is a drink which causes men to die. It is a drink that brings about murder. We advocate the principle, if it being done away with, and that it not be given to the native people. I quite like this one, probably because I have a Wanganui connection as well, but liquor impoverishes us. Our children are not born healthy because their parents drink to excess and the child suffers. It muddles men's brains and they, in ignorance, sign important documents and get into trouble thereby. Grog also turns the intelligent men of the Māori race into fools. Grog is the cause of various diseases which afflict us. We are also liable to accidents such as tumbling off horses and falling into the water. These things occur through drunkenness. It also leads men to take inappropriate liberties with other people's wives. 1870, a group of 167 Māori from Te Ati Haunui a Paparangi. Another quote, Te Kuti in 1887, hence this needless strife which comes from the consumption of liquor, from shame, from hatred. Therefore I say, abandon these evils, friends, my way are my friends. Very prominent Ngāti Porou leader, Ngāta in 1914. Whatever the view of European may be about the benefit otherwise of liquor to the white race, there can be no question as to the amount of damage liquor has done to the people of my race. Whether the Māori will in generations also become hardened or seasoned drinkers like the incoming Europeans, I do not know. I hope the day will come when national prohibition will be carried out in the country. My position is clear cut, and that is, so far as the supply of liquor to the Māori is concerned, from my own youth until now, I have and shall oppose it everywhere. By 1879, all South Island tribes petitioned Parliament for the total prohibition of alcohol in the southern region. The Waikato chiefs in 1856, this alcohol was the worst thing hitherto brought to New Zealand. Te Whiti o Rongomai, one of the prophets from a little place in South Taranaki called Parihaka in 1870. If you have taken silver, then indeed you will be lost. What good have you got when you stretch forth your hand for it? Did it not turn to poisonous drink which maddened you? And then where was the land of your fathers? Tua Whaiki, Ngai Tahu Paramount Chief, died just south of Timaru, 1830. Here we are, impoverished survivors, yet in time we were strong. But an enemy even more devious than Te Rauparaha seized the day, the Pākehā visiting us with his alcohol and his vile diseases, and you think thus we came to a bad end. So I've been very fortunate, partly in my role. I'm actually here today as a kind of Christchurch Māori community representative, but I was quite fortunate to participate in some of the Law Commission review and some of the submissions. I sat in on the Ngai Tahu submission to the Law Commission. Ngai Tahu was the only iwi Māori organisation in the country that formally submitted to the Law Commission. And they were quite clear, as they are with a number of other kind of policy developments, as they believe that the Treaty of Waitangi should be implicit in any legislation moving forward, and that Māori, I guess, should be part of the solution. Māori specifically have expectations outlined in the Local Government Act and also the Resource Management Act, and in turn, similar to the Sale of Liquor Act, Ngai Tahu believe that they should be part of that equation as well. The model used for assessing environmental impact and the management of resource should be applied when managing the impact of alcohol on Māori as well. So when we're looking at impact assessments, specifically Māori need to be and should be part of, I guess, some of the observations specifically, but part of the process. So I just guess in closing, before I get the final kind of bell, it's pretty obvious that this issue is not new. For Māori, I guess we've been concerned for near on generations specific to the issues of alcohol. These issues are not new. Our forefathers, our rangatira, were clearly aware of the imminent risks and obviously the position that we find ourselves in today. Ngai Tahu specifically, as I've already stated, want to be part of the solution moving forward. They know their communities, they know their people, they know ways forward as well, and so in regards to the legislative movement forward, specific with the review of the Sale of Liquor Act, it would be Ngai Tahu's submission that they be included in part of that process, part of the legislative framework. So thank you again, great turnout. Thank you very much to the Healthy Christchurch champions and their secretariat. Well done for everybody, and I guess it's going to be interesting in the last quarter of this year. We'll see obviously an opportunity for this to be debated. The select committee processes will start to unfold, but I'm pretty sure by the end of this year we will see some significant changes in the environment controlling liquor that we probably haven't seen for over 20 years. So kia ora koutou.